All right, let's talk about something that's probably been drilled into your head your entire life. The idea that just working hard is the key to everything. But what if that's exactly what's holding you back? Today, we are going to pull apart something I call the productivity trap. Okay, listen to this. Hard work is the ultimate cope. I know, that sounds crazy, right? But just think about it for a second. If grinding away was really the secret, wouldn't the most exhausted people also be the wealthiest? Yeah, that's not how it works. For so many creators, this obsession with doing everything manually is what keeps them stuck in what I call 30,000 view jail. You know that feeling, right? You pour in endless hours, but your videos just flatline. The effort you put in just never seems to match the results you get. And this is the part that really stings. If you're a creator doing it all yourself, the writing, the recording, the endless editing, you're not really a business owner. You're basically a volunteer for the algorithm. That work ethic you're so proud of? It's actually become your biggest liability. Let's dig into why that is.
To really get what's going on, you have to understand that there are basically two types of creators out there. On one side, you've got the passionate artist, who I call the gourmet chef, and on the other, you've got the super efficient operator, the factory builder. Their whole approach to making content is worlds apart, and, you guessed it, so are the results.
So let's just call them what they really are. The manual grinder. That's our gourmet chef. They pour every ounce of their soul into every single creation until they're just completely burned out. But then you've got the system architect. That's our factory builder. This person gets it. They understand that success on a platform like YouTube isn't just about making art, it's about meeting supply and demand as efficiently as you possibly can. And this table right here, it breaks it all down perfectly. The manual grinder honestly believes that quality has to come from suffering. So what do? They spend days, maybe even a week, perfecting one single video. The outcome? They're totally exhausted, and they've probably missed out on 2 or 3 big trends while they were busy. Now, the system architect, they think completely differently. They see YouTube as a marketplace, plain and simple. Their method isn't to suffer, it's to build a killer AI automation workflow. And the result of that? Well, they can crank out months of top-tier content in a single day. The difference is it's staggering. So why is there such a massive difference in results? It all comes down to something I call the power gap. This is the absolute core reason why so many creators feel like they're running on a hamster wheel. They're always busy, but they're never actually getting anywhere. They're confusing being active with actual achievement. So what is the power gap? Think of it like a giant canyon between doing stuff and actually getting stuff done. I mean, you can spend 10 hours on some super fancy retention editing, but here's the hard truth. YouTube doesn't care how much time you spent. It rewards the value you provide. If your core idea for a video is weak, no amount of hard work is going to save it. So how in the world do you get across this giant gap? Well, the architect doesn't just cross their fingers and hope for the best. Nope. They use a very specific strategy to build a bridge. They go out and find a starving crowd. That's an audience with a huge unmet need. And then they build systems to supply that demand way faster and better than anyone else. See? It's all about strategy, not sweat. Let's make this feel a little more real. To really understand the price you pay for being inefficient, let's talk about a feeling pretty much all of us know, the paycheck pain point. You know that moment when your hard-earned cash seems to just evaporate? Let's just walk through this painful little cycle. Friday, the paycheck finally hits your account. You can breathe for a second. Then Wednesday rolls around. Boom. Rent, insurance, all the bills, they attack. By Thursday, the money's just gone. It's like it was raptured right out of your account. And by Sunday, what are you doing? You're back to making that same old promise to yourself. Okay, this week, I am finally going to fix my routine. Sound familiar? This whole cycle, this hamster wheel, it perfectly illustrates the problem. This isn't about you failing personally. It's a system failure. You're spending your life doing the same repetitive, low-impact tasks that feel productive, but in reality, they lead absolutely nowhere. You're just stuck on the wheel. Okay, enough about the problem. I think we get it. So what's the solution? How do we get off the wheel? Let's dive into the architect's execution framework. This is the system designed to get you out of that trap and put you back in control. Now, this framework is actually a pretty simple 3-step process. Step 1 is to identify the starving crowd. You gotta find where the real demand is. Step 2 is to build the AI factory to meet that demand at a massive scale. And finally, step 3 is to hack your brain to make being consistent feel totally effortless. Let's break down step 1. Find the demand.
This means you stop guessing what people want. You use actual research tools to see what's trending. Look for those outlier videos. The ones from tiny channels that somehow explode and get millions of views. That's your proof that an idea works. Then you use keyword tools to make sure tons of people are searching for it. And here's the pro move. You target high RPM niches. These are topics like neuroscience or finance. Think dopamine detoxes. Advertisers pay way more for these topics, which means you earn a lot more money for every 1,000 views. Okay, step 2 is where the magic happens. You build your AI factory. This is where you go from being an editor to being a manager. You can use AI scripting tools to come up with ideas based on frameworks that are proven to work. You use AI voiceover tools like 11 Labs to get that deep professional storyteller voice, and use AI video editors to create clean, engaging visuals in minutes, not days. But listen, the most important part of this whole system is the pacing. You have to make sure something new pops up on screen every 4 to 8 seconds. For keeping people hooked on modern platforms, this is absolutely crucial. And finally, step 3 is all about hacking your own brain. Now, this isn't just some fluffy self-help talk. This is real science. There's a process called structural neuroplasticity. All it means is that when you repeat a task over and over again, your brain physically rewires itself to make that task easier. So when you actually commit to using your system every single day, being consistent stops feeling like a struggle. It just becomes second nature. And really, this all leads us to the ultimate takeaway. The productivity trap, the burnout, all that frustration, it all disappears the moment you truly realize one simple truth. Consistency beats intensity. Those frantic, all-night editing sessions, they're just going to burn you out. But a smart, repeatable system, that's how you build an empire. Working smarter isn't just an option, it's the only real path forward. So, as we wrap this up, I'm just going to leave you with this one question. I want you to take a really hard look at how you work, at your mindset, and at the results you're getting. So, are you a manual grinder, just trading your time for exhaustion? Or are you ready to become a system architect? The choice really is all yours.